One of the best ways to maximize your income and to decrease your expenses is to cluster shows. And in this video, we're going to talk about why you should consider clustering your shows and why it is important for your business growth and your own mental sustainability and getting the shows together and just getting into a great routine. Clustering shows can really help you build your business and help you get started in the business of playing your guitar for pay at senior communities. Clustering shows is about grouping shows in one single location or grouping the shows at a single community. I like to always consider the travel time between shows, and if you're going from one town at one side of the state to another town on another side of the state in the same day, there's a lot of mental load and there's a lot of fatigue that you start to accrue, and especially when you're loading your car up with all the gear and traveling to a different community in a different environment. And if you are getting dressed, getting your rehearsal, getting your gear together, loading your gear up, showing up at the community, there's a lot of steps that you take in preparation for that one show. And I would argue that it's easier to do two shows in one day than it is to do two shows in 1 week. And one of the first things I want you to consider is that you're already ready. You have everything together. You have all of your gear and your songs, and you're ready to do a show. The best time to do a show is right after you've done a show because you're already ready. There are two primary ways of clustering shows. The first and the best way is to do two shows at one community. And the second way is to do two shows in close proximity, ideally in the same town. So you minimize that travel time in between. So when you cluster shows in one community, that means doing one show at, let's say, an assisted living neighborhood in the same community, and another show in, let's say, the memory care neighborhood. When a community is really big, they break the neighborhoods down into assisted living, independent living. They could have skilled nursing, and they could have a breakdown of memory care. Usually it's assisted living and memory care. That's what I found through all of my show experience and booking, that it's about those two neighborhoods. And you can definitely increase your efficiency being a show person because you are at the same community. You don't need to change environments. You see the similar staff, and the environment is it's pretty similar. The setup is the same. The number of residents are typically the same. The staff working there sees you, and there's a tremendous value in that in itself. When the staff sees you more in multiple neighborhoods, they'll get to know you a little bit more, and you start to build this relationship with them, and you start to become the musician that they go to when they need entertainment. The more the community sees you, and the more the community has you, and the more you're immersed in that environment, the better relationship that you're going to build with them, and the more likely it is for them to think of you when they are looking to bring in entertainers and music, and looking to help their residents, fill the residents' activity calendar. Another big benefit of clustering your shows is that your mental fatigue goes down because your energy level is sustained for that longer period of time. Right after the first show, just think about how energized you are, and think about how polished your songs are. You're already primed to do another show versus breaking down, putting everything in your car, sort of decompressing, going home and setting up for the next gig maybe later on in that week. You can just break down that one little set, transport it to another side of the community, and set up and do another show because you're already mentally in that mode of playing the songs. I have made so many mistakes as far as scheduling shows. At the very beginning, I would travel from one town at one side of the state to another town on this side of the state, and another town on the other side of the state, and I just spend this whole day traveling. Most of the time I would spend traveling, and I want to help you consider that booking shows in the same community is far better than booking two different shows in two different towns or three different towns. The way that you do that is you offer some value to your customer, and you tell them that basically if you're talking to the activity director and you know that this community has multiple neighborhoods, you could offer them a discount on your fee and say something like, I can do one show for $175, or if you'd like to have me do 2 shows for each of your communities, I'd be happy to do each show for $150. Or wherever your fee is structured, you can work with them. I find that it's really beneficial to do multiple shows at the same community because you're able to play for all of the residents that live at this community. You're able to make a greater impact, and you're also able to grow as a performer because the audiences are a little bit different. You might play for an assisted living community where you find that residents are singing a little bit with you. You find that they're listening to the stories that you're telling, and you might find a little bit more engagement versus a memory care community where there's silence and crickets after every single song that you play. So you need to fill it with something that could be soothing. Maybe play a few chords and then tell a story, and kind of get used to flowing from one song to another and just keeping that musical vibe going. The more you do shows for different audiences, the more experience you're going to have as a performer, and eventually the more confidence you'll have and the more value you bring to the community, and you'll be able to up your fee. So you're always bringing that value to your customer when you do multiple shows at that community. If you're beginning to schedule shows and you may have only 1 or 2 shows per month or 1 show per week, I would encourage you to start scheduling shows in more frequency and more often, if only to expedite your experience level and your ability to go through your song list better and to build your repertoire of songs and to help you gain that experience performing. The more you're out and performing, the better you're going to get, and the more the communities are going to see you, and the more demand that you're going to have for your services. If you are starting out and you, let's say, are at a beginner or intermediate level, booking 2 shows in one day may not be the easiest thing mentally to conceive, but once you do it once, you can kind of see the benefits of saying, oh man, this is so much easier because I've just played a show and I'm already in my show mode. Now, if you start to get experience doing multiple shows on the same day, it's really not that big of a jump to do multiple shows in the same day on multiple days. And by that I mean you can go to a community that could be an hour or a 2-hour drive, book 2 communities in the same day, and then the next day do in that same location, book multiple shows in that same town. And you can have 2 shows one day and let's say 3 shows the next day. You might want to consider lodging at a hotel, or you might want to consider your meals and packing a little bit more. There could be a lot more preparation, but if you cluster your shows in that same town or the same community, you are going to eliminate so many expenses as you drive and as you travel, and it's so much less taxing on your mind when you don't have to constantly set up another show at a different town and go to a different place. When you're starting out, I want to encourage you to just focus on one show. And once you've got experience booking, let's say 12 shows, 1 show at a time, start to experiment by doing multiple shows in the same day at multiple communities. Biggest benefit to clustering shows is really making the best, most efficient use of your time. And you want to give that time and energy that you have, you want to give that to your audience, you want to give that to the music and the songs that you're sharing, and you want to project that confidence that comes with the experience. And the more you cluster shows, the more experience you're going to get, and that expedites your learning curve as a performer as you build your performance business. Always consider the residents and how they are seeing you in a fresh, active, happy, energetic state. You don't want to come into your 3rd show and being exhausted from all that travel time. You want to show them that fresh face and that happy attitude, and you want to show them that you're really excited to be with them. Have an awesome show, have an awesome time scheduling your shows throughout the week and the month. Always continue to shine that love and light on seniors. Have a lot of fun with what you're doing. I'm going to see you in the next video.